What's up, all you lovely internet movie fans, and welcome back. It is Saturday, and we have a lovely episode coming to you, a special episode of the Peacemaker After Show for episode 4. This is Kate Commentary. I am your host, Austin Johnson. Let's dive into right now episode 4 of Peacemaker. Kind of like a setup episode, I think, to some much more larger things happening. We've got some very funny moments. Let's dive into it right now and discuss everything. So, we start this episode off in a flashback to 35 years ago with Augie, Chris, and Keith out in the woods, and they're hearing this weird kind of screeching sound. They're hunting, and they go and investigate what it was, and it's like this weird looking, like, skinless, like no hair on, like, alien creature. It almost looks like a Demogorgon, but, like, very, very smooth, and Augie blast him, and Chris is like, don't do it, don't take him out, and Augie just gives him a backstab and says, don't tell me what to do, and just bang. So I thought this was like a weasel, or like a version of weasel, because it sounds just like him when you first hear the noise, but then you see it doesn't really look like him, it's just some alien creature, but he's carrying this like portable, like metallic looking thing. And we figure out later in this episode, that's kind of what sets up and creates the quantum unfolding chamber. So then we fast forward now to the present day. Chris has just got back to his house. We know from last episode he came back from the alternate universe, or dimension, whatever you want to call it, and he's sitting there. He kind of wakes up, sees some like bullet holes in the ceiling. He kind of looks around and he's like, Eagly, what have you done here? What'd you make a mess for? And the more he looks around, he's like, what is going on? And he sees Eagly. And then we flash to Economos, who's now in the van with Sasha Bordeaux, Agent Flurry, and a couple of the other agents. They're all en route to Peacemaker's house. And we see Judo Master is there as well. And there's also Red St. Wild. And there's a very funny, this is probably like my favorite part of the episode, one of my favorite parts. And this is a very funny interaction between Judo Master, Red St. Wild, and Economos. They're all having this little back and forth, kind of giving jabs at each other. Like, Red St. Wild is just, like, Michael Rooker playing character is hilarious. And some of the delivery that he says, especially to Judo Master, is very funny. But they kind of understand the plan. Economos has to try and figure out a way to warn Peacemaker. So he's kind of like texting like below, like trying to be as inconspicuous as possible to send Chris a warning message that, hey, we're en route to your house, get out now. So Chris gets this message, and he has to decipher it. We've all gotten those messages from our friends or sent them ourselves, where like you typing too fast or trying to be kind of inconspicuous, and you just can't kind of make out a lot of the words. But you can either certain words, you're like, what is he trying to say? So Chris is reading this, and he's like, get out now, tangent en route, Arcus. And it's like, oh shit, agents are coming for Argus for me. So he's like, Eagly, let's go now. He's like picking all his stuff. And then we see the metallic thing that he found 35 years ago from that alien. That's the quantum unfolding chamber thing that kind of like creates it. He grabs that, grabs his bag, grabs Eagly, and they get out of there right when the agents arrive and infiltrate in. So as he escapes, he texts Adebayo, and he's like, hey, I need you to come pick me up. And because Adebayo is like one of his more closer friends like that, and so he texts Adebayo to pick him up. And at the same time, as the agents bust in, they're looking around, and they go to the door where they think the quantum unfolding chamber is, and where it actually is for now. And they task Economos with, here, you gotta crack the door. We know you cracked into the CIA's like security when you're like 14. You can crack this code pretty easily. And so he knows he has to stall because he's texting with Peacemaker. So he comes up with some very funny excuses. He's like explaining every little thing. So this is this does this, I would do this. And he's like, do you guys hear a cat, like a kitten kind of anywhere? Like, we should probably go investigate that. And they're always like, shut the fuck up, go. And then like Sasha Bordeaux gets a funny wink, which is a kind of a callback and a reference to a conversation that they had with Flurry in the van, where Flurry was like, he was talking to her on the phone, he was winking, he's like, this means we're all in this together. And they're like, no, never has anyone winked at someone, and it meant we're all in this together. And then Red St. Wild is like, I'm from the Illinois, and I've never had someone wink at me and mean that. So it's a very funny conversation, so it's a kind of a good callback too. So they're trying to all get Economos to stop stalling. They don't be stalling. Hey, break in now. At the same time, Peacemaker is picked up by Adebayo, and they're going to some cabin in the woods that Peacemaker's grandfather used to own and live in. And he takes Vigilante, and he needs to pick up some doors, which we know is for the universe, or the dimensions, whatever you want to call them, for the quantum unfolding chamber. So they arrive at the grandfather's house. Adebayo makes a very funny joke about how there's a bunch of spiders all around here. Vigilante would love that because he's just obsessed with spiders. They're one of his favorite animals, which spiders are fucking disgusting. I hate spiders. They're a no-go for me. So that's happening now, and Economos eventually plugs all his things in, and he starts to enter his device and is trying to crack into the safe. And at the same time, Vigilante arrives there. Peacemaker sets down the metallic kind of thing, and he's telling Adebayo too, like, hey, I've been to this alternate dimension. It's a better dimension, which we all know. Like, I think we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop for this better dimension because there's gotta be something wrong. He's telling her, like, it's all great. I have a family. Like, my family's over there. They're all alive. My dad, brother Keith. We're the top trio. We fight crime together. And she's like, top trio? And she's like, is this all your imagination? Which would be a really interesting twist. Is these doors actually just lead over to, like, what you desire the most, not actually there. But I think this is actually an alternate dimension. And I think Adebayo is going to end up going with Chris to that alternate dimension and seeing it. And I think she'll point out in probably the first 30 seconds to a minute, there's no black people here. Where's all the colored people at? Where's no persons of color here at all? Where's no minorities? What's going on here? And I think that's going to be a very funny scene too, because they'll probably all see Adebayo and be like, what the hell? Like, I think that might happen, which will be a very funny ball drop too. And Chris will be like, oh shit, this isn't like better at all. So we'll see if that actually metastasizes and happens. But, so he's talking to her, he's setting up the chamber too, and he's telling her all about this too, and she's like, Chris, it's not always greener. And that's true. That's a true thing in life, because we all know Chris wants, like, that family, that sense of love, that admiration to be a hero, but things aren't always greener. It's always something that's, like, different, that's going to affect you, that you don't really account for because you're too blinded by what you didn't have at the first place. So that's an interesting aspect too. He sets up the chamber, and then as he completes it too, it starts to glow. This little, like, yellow electricity starts to stagnate. He's like, all right, Adebayo, you gotta go. And as soon as I set this up and push the button, I'm gonna be out there too. We gotta run like hell outside the cabin. And so they do that. And as he pushes the button, he runs, and just a big explosion happens. And at the same time, Economos is cracking into the door where the quantum unfolding chamber at Peacemaker's house used to be. It opens, and behold, nothing is there. It's just shirts. So it's very funny. And they're like, what the hell? So Bordeaux gives a call in to Flagg Sr., and she's like, there's nothing here. It was just like a keypad for a door. And he's like, why would he have that advanced security system in the keypad just to hide sweaters? And so he's like, all right, I need to call Harcourt. So he's recruiting Harcourt now, and he goes to talk to her, and he knows kind of what's going on with her. He tells her that, hey, you've been blackballed by Amanda Waller. You're not going to have any government agencies at all giving you a job. But I might be able to help you out with that. If you bring in Peacemaker, I can get you a job back with the government, possibly with Argus. And we see that's what Harcourt wants, because she's given her life to the government. She wants to work for them because that's what all she's good at. She's like fighting these people out at bars and stuff. But it's very interesting too. So she accepts Flagg Sr.'s offer and takes Peacemaker and say, hey, let's meet up. We have to meet here. We need to talk. At the same time, the quantum unfolding chamber is completely set up now, and Vigilante arrives with the door. So Peacemaker though tells him, I gotta leave. I'll be right back. I gotta talk to Harcourt. And Vigilante even says, you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's smart? And he's like, we'll see. So he's going to meet up with Harcourt now. She's in, working with Flagg Sr., all the Argus agents, and Economos just gives her a look like, what are you doing? Chris is our friend. We're the family. We're the 11th Street kids. But we see that's happening. And there's also a very flashing back to earlier on when the Argus agents infiltrate Peacemaker's house. One of the funny scenes, because Red St. Wild's like, I'm a bald eagle. He's the best bald eagle hunter in the world, according to him. And so he sees Eagly actually flying. He's about to take the shot. Economos just shoves him from behind. Red St. Wild just crashes to the ground, cracks his head on a rock, wakes up. He's like, what happened? Economos, again, not the best freestyle. He's like, bald eagle attacked you. And Red St. Wild's like, that's not possible. He's like, it's been foretold. This is the primal eagle. So then it goes back to the end of the episode now. Red St. Wild's taking the blood that was from his fall, wiping it. He's drawing an eagle symbol in the ground. He has this out-of-body experience where he sees Eagly flying and Eagly landing right on the house, the Peacemaker's grandfather's house. And he's like, I know where you are. He's in the hills. And that's kind of where the episode ends. This episode wasn't much in terms of, it pushed the story forward, but it wasn't much action. It's kind of just a lot of build-up and setup. I think we are going to get some great episodes coming. Of course, James Gunn's already said, the last 3 are bonkers. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for this. I like this episode just because even though it's set up, it's got some funny moments in it. It pushes the story forward and kind of connecting some narrative points. So I'm excited to see where this episode goes, or where next week's episode goes, what's going to happen, where all the characters are going to go. Is the grass actually greener? Of course. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys saw of the episode. Did you guys like it? Where do you think we're going next with this episode, with the episodes going forward? What's going to happen next for the season of Peacemaker? I will see you guys all next weekend for episode 5 recap. Love you all. Peace.